Ever met someone who finds profound joy in the melancholy of rainstorms or gets lost in daydreams about saving the world? What if I told you these quirks aren't random, they're the secret language of the rarest personality type, the INFJ? Buckle up, because today we're diving into the 8 uncommon things that INFJ love and others find strange. Spoiler: by the end you'll either want to hug an INFJ or finally understand why they're so weirdly wonderful. 1. Solitude in crowded places, the art of being alone together. INFJs are masters of blending into a crowd while staying mentally detached. Imagine being at a buzzing cafe. Everyone's chatting, laughing, or typing away, but the INFJ is the one sitting by the window, sipping tea and quietly observing the room. To outsiders, this might look like loneliness or boredom. But for the INFJ, this is a sacred ritual. They thrive in environments where they can absorb the energy of human connection without being swallowed by it. It's like watching a movie. They enjoy the plot, the social dynamics, but don't want to jump into the screen. Why do they do this? INFJs are introverts who recharge by reflecting inwardly. Crowds drain them, but they still crave glimpses of humanity. So they compromise. They'll attend a party but linger near the bookshelf. They'll join the family reunion but sneak outside to stare at the stars. It's not that they dislike people, they just need to process interactions in small doses. To others, this seems contradictory. Why show up if you're not going to engage? But for INFJs, being present without performing is the perfect balance. They're collecting stories, emotions, and ideas to later dissect in their private mental journals. 2. Fixing problems no one asked them to solve. INFJs have a superhero complex, but in the gentlest way possible. They can't walk past a struggling person without itching to help, even if that person hasn't uttered a single complaint. For example, if a coworker sighs while organizing files, the INFJ might spend their lunch break designing a spreadsheet to simplify the task. If a friend casually mentions feeling overwhelmed, the INFJ will secretly research stress management techniques and email them a guide. This habit baffles outsiders. Why waste time on problems that aren't yours? They ask. But to INFJs, ignoring someone's silent pain feels like ignoring a bleeding wound. Their brains are wired to detect subtle cues: a flicker of sadness in a smile, a hesitant pause in conversation. They don't help for praise, they help because not helping would keep them awake at night. It's a mix of empathy and a compulsive need to create order in chaos. The downside? They often overextend themselves, solving problems for people who might not even want their help. 3. Obsessive daydreaming about saving the world. INFJs don't just daydream about vacations or promotions, they daydream about revolutions. Their minds are like movie studios, constantly producing epic scenarios where they rescue orphans, negotiate world peace, or invent sustainable energy solutions. One minute, they're folding laundry. The next, they're mentally drafting a speech to unite humanity. These fantasies aren't mere distractions. They're deeply emotional. An INFJ might tear up imagining a homeless person finding shelter or feel rage while picturing a deforestation protest. To others, this seems over the top. You're just a teacher/accountant/nurse. Why stress about global issues? But INFJs see the world as a connected web. A struggling student in their class isn't just a student. They're a symbol of systemic education flaws. A rainy day isn't just weather. It's a reminder of climate change. Their daydreams are actually blueprints for their values. While they know they can't fix everything, they're haunted by the question, but what if I could? 4. Emotional time travel. Nostalgia on steroids. Most people look at old photos and think, that was fun. INFJs look at old photos and relive the moment. A ticket stub from a 2010 concert isn't just paper, it's a portal. Holding it, they're transported back. The smell of popcorn, the ache in their feet from dancing, the stranger who shared a lighter. Their nostalgia isn't casual, it's visceral. They'll save broken jewelry, faded letters, or even random rocks for meaningful trips. This confuses everyone else. Why keep junk from 10 years ago? But to INFJs, these objects are sacred. Throwing them away feels like erasing a chapter of their life. They're terrified of forgetting, not just events but the emotions attached to them. A song isn't just a melody, it's the soundtrack of their first heartbreak. A coffee mug isn't just a mug, it's the one their grandma drank from every morning. This intense attachment to the past fuels their creativity and empathy but can also trap them in what-ifs and regrets. 5. Falling in love with fictional characters. INFJs don't just enjoy books or shows, they form relationships with fictional characters. They'll finish a novel and feel genuine grief as if a friend moved away. They analyze characters' motives, imagine conversations with them, and even base life decisions on their fictional wisdom. For instance, an INFJ might ask, "What would Hermione do?" before standing up to a bully, or "How would Atticus Finch handle this?" during a moral dilemma. Others find this bizarre. They're not real, they argue. But to INFJs, fictional characters are more than ink on paper. They're embodiments of ideals. A brave heroine represents the courage they wish to cultivate. A flawed villain mirrors the darkness they fear in themselves. These relationships help INFJs process their own emotions and beliefs. Plus, fictional worlds are safe spaces to explore complex feelings without real-world consequences. 6. Secretly craving drama, but only for others. INFJs hate personal drama but are oddly fascinated by others' chaos. They'll binge-watch reality TV, dissect friends' relationship problems, or devour true crime podcasts. It's not gossip, it's a study of human behavior. They love analyzing why people make bad choices, how conflicts escalate, or what drives someone to betrayal. But if drama touches their own life, they'll run for the hills. This irony puzzles people. You're so calm, why enjoy others' messes? For INFJs, it's about understanding, not entertainment. They see drama as a puzzle. What trauma made this person so jealous? What insecurity fuels their lies? By dissecting others' mistakes, they learn to navigate their own relationships. It's like emotional archaeology, digging through the mess to find universal truths about love, fear, and healing. 7. Spiritual geekdom, mysticism over small talk. While most people chat about movies or sports, INFJs want to discuss the meaning of life. Literally. They'll read books about quantum physics, meditate on existential questions, or debate whether souls reincarnate. A simple question like, "How's the weather?" might lead them to rant about humanity's disconnect from nature. They're obsessed with finding patterns and purpose in everything, from dreams to déjà vu. This makes small talk agony. To others, INFJs seem too deep or intense. But for them, surface-level chatter feels pointless. Why discuss traffic when you could discuss the ethics of AI? Why talk about diets when you could debate the philosophy of happiness? They're not trying to be pretentious. They're genuinely hungry for conversations that ignite their souls. Unfortunately, this often leaves them feeling lonely in crowds. Secretly judging you, but with love. INFJs are perceptive. They notice your forced smile, the way you fidget when lying, or the potential you're wasting. They'll scream internally, "Quit that dead-end job. Confess your feelings. Stop people-pleasing." But outwardly, they'll nod and say, "You know what's best." They judge not out of malice but because they care. To them, watching someone self-destruct is like watching a car crash in slow motion. They want to leap in and steer, but they fear overstepping. This creates a paradox. People often think INFJs are too nice or passive. But in reality, they're bursting with opinions they rarely share. They'll only speak up if asked directly, and even then they'll sugarcoat their advice. Years later, when you say, "You knew I was making a mistake," they'll reply, "I didn't want to pressure you." Their silence isn't approval, it's respect for your autonomy. Conclusion. INFJs are like rare diamonds, complex, multifaceted, and easily misunderstood. Their strange passions aren't random quirks. They're reflections of a mind that craves depth in a shallow world. They love fiercely, dream wildly, and feel intensely, often in silence. So if you meet an INFJ, don't dismiss their love for rainy days or old journals. Instead, ask them to share their stories. You might just glimpse the world through the eyes of someone who sees magic in the mundane and hope in the hopeless.